Listen up here. The restaurant industry is grueling and unpredictable, just like this show, from the front of the house to the back of the house and all in between. We will turn up the heat, you turn up the volume. I'm Chef Antonio Caruana. Welcome to the Tell All Podcast, the Burnt Hands Perspective.
This podcast contains explicit and potentially offensive material. You've been warned. Now buckle up, bitches. Let's go.
KC.
What's up?
What's up?
We're back.
You ready to do this thing or what?
We're ready to do this thing. All right. So this is a topic that a lot of people in the restaurant industry probably have questions on, and you've done it before. So investors, yes and no, because you're sole proprietor kind of operation.
Yeah, now. Yes and no. So investors, yes and no. In my experience, you have to start with somebody who's willing to trust your investing in. Happened to me. You can't save enough money working in a restaurant to open a restaurant.
Yeah.
If you're an employee, if you're just a chef or coming up chef or kitchen commis of any sort, you can't save enough money to live, survive, excel, succeed, and open another restaurant. So investors is almost part of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it has to be all of it. So you got to be very careful on what you do with your investor, because investors have the downfall.
Yeah. Do you think, when you started, do you want to kind of go through your journey? Because I think people will be interested because you started, with it, without, you've experienced both sides of it, the ups and downs. So
yeah, definitely. So tried doing a couple things with friends, putting our money together, scraping things together in the past. It lasts as long as you open and as long as it goes. And then a couple times the friends will go one way, you'll go the other, you'll lose everything you worked on. So whether your investment is sweat equity or money, if they're not lined up in the same direction, someone's going to lose something.
Yeah.
Right? So as I started that, I realized and backed out of those things earlier in life. Then I got moving on, partnerships with other friends and stuff, and they were all good and it was all great intention. Yeah. Only been fucked over once or twice. The other things just kind of fell apart on its own, and there was no animosities. Matter of fact, a couple of them are still really good friends.
Okay.
So with the investment side of it, though, we were talking about how much money are we looking to invest, right? Are you looking at an investor who just wants to be part of your train or that wants to get your notoriety because they have so much money, they'll buy a status no matter what? That's the most dangerous because they don't give a fuck. All they want is their notoriety. They want their status. They want their connection to your project. They want to be known as the person in town. And as soon as they're done with that toy, they fucking leave you hanging, and now there's no more money left. So you're fucked, right?
Yeah.
So you have a small window to be able to create something good enough in that time. But it 9 times out of 10 doesn't happen because that investor doesn't give a fuck. They stop giving the money and they start wanting their money back because now they have this weird thing about it didn't do the dreams they wanted. It didn't give them that persona that they were looking for. They didn't get that fucking fame as we've talked before about. They think that they're going to collect a chef who's got some notoriety and fame to them, and they're going to bring them up, and they're also going to collect on that same type of intrigue, and it just doesn't happen. So they usually end up getting mad or upset, or the chef's food cost. They have a million excuses on why they need to pull their money back out. The problem is, though, you're fucked because now you're sitting there with nothing. All right? So the money in the investment is a great thing as long as that investment has legal binds to it, as long as that investment has percentages where there's growth opportunity and where you have a chance at being part of the outcome of the investment. Okay? You need an investor. But you need to make sure when you get that investor, you're really going about it the right way. Lawyers, legality, contracts.
Yeah.
You need to be bound to the investment just as they are. If not, you're just a fucking pawn here. You know what I'm saying?
In their little get rich quick or be famous scheme.
Correct. In their little scheme of their idea.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, like I said, a lot of people are trying to either move money, shake money, or they want to have, they're interested in the restaurant business because they want to get out of the construction. I'm just using that as an example. It's not only that. There's all kinds of stuff. There's real estate moguls who want to open up restaurants, and they have no idea what they're getting into. Your risks that you took in real estate were the risks you took to make you have the money you have. Don't re-risk that shit and go backwards into a field where you're trying to invest in somebody because that's their dream.
Yeah.
And when you don't like it, you leave, and now that person's hanging, and now you're fucked forever if you take that invested opportunity. Yeah. They're not all good. They're not all good. So what I would suggest is getting yourself a proposed startup, right? Get someone who can help you with a financial loan or a financial obligation, and then end it at that obligation, and then start learning how to use your money properly and use your growth properly to fund yourself. You're going to get opportunities in different ways, when you can have enough money to fund yourself. You need backing power. You need buying power. You need dickering power. You need all that shit. Did I say dickener?
Dickering? Is that I didn't know that was an adjective.
Dickering. Yes.
Dickering?
Dickering is not bargaining.
Stop dickering around.
Yeah, no, dickering means like you're going to dicker someone down or something kind of pricing. Right? So anyway, now listen, I'm from New England, so here we go.
It's totally different. Yeah. Totally different world.
So when you're fucking with them people that want to use you and promise you the world, they're not promising you shit. They're promising themselves a fucking fictitious world that they think's going to happen, and you got to be careful of those people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So is it good or bad investment? It's really good if it works out, and it's really fucking bad if it doesn't. You only have one chance as a good investment. Yeah. Or investor, rather.
Well, I mean, you can protect yourself, too. Because, I mean, if it sounds too good to be true, obviously, it is too good to be true. We all know that if you have any business acumen whatsoever, you're going to realize
that's the point, right?
You will realize that. But if you're or, you have these delusions of grandeur that somebody's just going to give you $1 million to open a restaurant, and you just, it's not going to go well for you.
And it also works both ways. So since you asked the question, investor, yes or no?
Yeah.
What about investing? Yes or no?
That's a good point. So from the other side.
For all you investors out there, here's the other side of the coin. There are a lot of incompetent fucking chefs when it comes to business. They're great chefs.
Yeah.
They know how to cook. They can get drunk with the best of them, and they can put out specials, be there all day, but they ain't got shit fuck to do all with business.
Yeah.
So if you get a bad taste in your mouth when you want to go invest in somebody, and then you're never going to probably do it again if you pick the wrong person to invest in. So there's a lot of chefs out there that don't have the experience they think they do. They think they can run a restaurant. They think they can run the numbers, but all they really got good at is maintaining what somebody else had already put in place.
Yes, true.
They didn't understand that you're the reason it has to be in place now.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So they'll sell a story to an investor, and the investor will be all hype, and then they'll have to pull out of their investment, and the chef will run around town telling them how the investor fucked them.
Yeah.
Double-edged sword. So it works both ways. Be careful who you're investing in, because when a guy like me needs investments, you might not want to do it because you've been fucked on some Yahoo that sold you a fake story because he's, because he can saute, flip a couple pans. You know what I mean?
Doesn't mean you can run a business.
Doesn't mean you can run a business and run numbers.
You can run a kitchen does not mean you can run a business.
Correct. You can run a kitchen, but you can't run a bath. You know what I mean? That's it. Half the guys I know out there, I wouldn't even let run a fucking bath, let alone a kitchen or anything else.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, were there any resources, because you did start out having an investor the first time, you kind of went through that journey, went solo. Like, were there resources that you would recommend for anybody, like small business, like SBA, any of those things
definitely.
that you used?
When you go for those loans, you have the SBA loan. If you're a veteran, you can go through those avenues.
Yeah.
There's very few banks and very few chefs who are trying to come up who have what it takes to have a bank back them.
Yeah.
Because it's such a risk. It's such a high risk, right? Yeah. Nobody wants to take that risk. They've already done it. They've already failed. The banks know, very hard. SBA loans have to be backed with business plans. You have to have a projection. You have to have a history. You have to have something to bring to the table. In my term, I call it a pallet. If you don't have a pallet to be able to bring people in your door, you're not going to have a pallet to sell somebody to give you money. You know what I mean? So it's very important you have that.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is work, and a lot of the things that happen to these celebrity chefs on TV and people in general are they are in the right place at the right time, and they capitalize on it. So once you get in the right place and put yourself in the right place at the right time, is you're going to have a better opportunity to have money or options come to you. Going to a bank and shit, get that out of your head. Yeah. If you think you're going to start a loan, I'm just going to get a business loan and I'm going to do this. If you think you're going to have a, what the fuck's the page on a computer? What is it called?
Like a Google, like a...
GoFundMe.
Oh, GoFundMe.
Yeah, GoFundMe.
Yeah,
right?
just charity, basically.
Yeah, so
I need a new boob job.
Help me. Yeah. It's a good idea and it's a good concept, but it's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
If you think you need 150,000, you need 300. If you think you need $1 million, you need fucking 2.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to work. Because if it takes $1 million to open your restaurant, you need $500,000 to keep it open.
Okay.
Until you start turning business, until you start turning covers, until you get a name for yourself. And if you don't have a name for yourself yet, don't spend $1 million to get one. It's not going to happen. There's too much business going on in between.
Yeah.
You have to manage money, staff, procedure, ups and downs, your insurances, your bills, keeping the lights on. You can't build a name for yourself while you're doing that and count on giving someone back their money.
Yeah.
and making money to stay open.
Yeah.
There's too much going on. So if you don't have a name or a following, you don't have shit yet. You don't have the opportunity yet. You have to wait. You have to build and grow. I use the word have to. You don't have to do nothing.
Yeah, you don't.
It's just an opinion, right?
Yeah,
it's my experience. So having a following, having people know who you are, and having we'll use that word again. If you have a fame going about yourself, you have a much more better opportunity to get people to trust you and your money. But you need that buffer.
Yeah.
You need that window of people who are going to come into your restaurant right away and follow you for what it is, and you better deliver. You don't have a choice. It's not a choice. You're never better than you were until you are. So you can't just assume you're going to make the next place better. Yeah. You have to make it better.
Yeah.
Because if you open the fourth restaurant and it's just as in line as the first one, but it's not as good as the second and third, you're failing. Yeah. It's not going to happen. So do not take that money unless you have what it takes to make the shit better. Typically, that costs more money.
Well, yeah. What was one of the biggest surprises you had, like a cost you didn't figure in when you were starting, like something you're like, shit, I wish someone would have told me that I should have figured in this cost.
Merchant stuff. Stuff. So it's all comes down to credit card processing, merchant fees, reservation online fees, all these operative fees that everyone is soaking from you.
Yeah.
That is the problem because you're paying that and you didn't think of it at the beginning. You didn't think that 3% on a credit card transaction at the end of the month over 1,000 times is how much money. You didn't think of that.
Yeah.
We're talking about $10,000 sometimes in a busy month that you're paying for nothing to a credit card company. Report that over a year, you're at 120 grand out of your profit that you just gave to a credit card company so people can use their fucking credit card in your store while they're collecting all their air miles, sky miles, and everything else.
Traveling,
whatever it is may be, right? Whatever the reward packages on that end. So there's a lot of restaurants now moving away from that.
Yeah.
I'm one of them where we don't discipline anybody for using a credit card, but we'll give a little discount for using cash because we'd rather not have to use it. They're basically paying for their credit card fee is what it is. So if there's a 3% markup, it's not a markup. That's just what the check would have been if you're using your credit card.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use your credit card, you'll lose 3%. That helps the customer. It doesn't punish them because if they're going to use their card, they're just using their card.
Yeah.
Walmart does it. The gas station does it. The convenience stores do it. Everything you use your credit card for, no one's picking up your tab. It's just the restaurant world, right? So those were one of those hidden
crazy
fucking nightmares, right? You go to use a reservation platform. If you use the wrong one, you're paying $1 per reservation. If you have 1,000 reservations a week, you're paying $1,000 for nothing.
Yeah.
It's not for nothing.
Well, but it's also, it's like another employee.
It's like another employee. It's
have another employee. It's more overhead.
Right. If you have a private dining room where there's 30 people coming in a clip on top of everything else, and then you have the walk-ins, you're talking sometimes, you can have 2,000 guests in a week. And, knock on wood, that's what everybody wants. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
The more the merrier, but the more you're paying. So if you eliminate those or do your research, that's where you're going to find those big, important cuts. The cuts that mean nothing. Those are wasted money.
Yeah.
It's wasted money to pay 3% for your credit card for a restaurant or a bar is absolute wasted money. There's no way we can figure that in unless we raise the prices 3% to make up for it.
Yeah.
So people don't want to excite that. That's not exciting either. So you just got to pick your sword and swallow it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it is. So that's that. Yeah.
I mean, the investors, I guess, was there like anyone who gave you advice in the beginning on that? Like, or did you just get lucky?
I know nobody gave me advice at all.
Okay.
It was the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Nobody who doesn't know about restaurants is going to create competition. If they do know about restaurants, they're and investing in restaurants, they're typically an investor.
Yeah.
There's not enough people out there like myself who went through it from the ground up.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of people available to give that knowledge. And when we do, we're really kind of skeptical on when and why to give it because you got to really know why people are asking.
Yeah.
But it's really not. It's not any chemistry you need to hold to itself. I mean, it's out there. Everybody can do it. You just gotta have the opportunities. But when you're talking about an investor who invested money into a restaurant and doesn't know about restaurants, nobody knows what to tell you. They're just taking a damn chance. Yeah. So they're just as curious as what's going to happen as you. So no one gave me any insight. I've looked for it. I searched for it. The only advice I ever got was don't do it. You're fucking crazy. It's a money pit. You're never, it's the most failing fucking rate of anything in the world. Yeah, those statistics are all there. They may not all be wrong.
Yeah.
Right? But in this case, so far, I've proved them wrong.
Yeah.
It's been working out right.
Yeah. Well, and so I think there's also the thing of a lot of restaurants out there, like, you're never going to make money. Like, people tell you don't do it because you're never going to make money. They always lose money. Why? I mean, why is
They're never going to make money because they never understood how to make the money come in. The problem with a restaurant is every single fucking day, money is going out. There's no downtime where we can collect money.
Yeah.
You get a good month, you're paying for a slow one. If you fucking put something in your kitty, you're fucking wasting it again next month. There's no collective time where we can sit down and ease back and let the work do itself. We have to constantly fight the fight every day.
Yeah.
People are sick, calling in late, no shows on reservations. It's summer break, it's spring break. Now it's the holidays. No one's coming out on 4th of July, closed for Memorial Day. It's all these things, 24 hours a day, the rent is being collected.
Yeah.
The bills are being asked for. But we can't stay open 24 hours a day to make the money. There's like a 6-hour window. We have an opportunity to make money to pay for a 24-hour handout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What you I guess the cost of opening a restaurant nowadays, range. I mean, you said to plan over whatever the amount is. If you had to do it all again, what percentage would you plan over what you were asking for?
I am going to do it again at some point for sure. So at least half the amount operative is what I'm shooting for.
Okay.
And that's a very good comfort zone. Some people don't even have that luxury.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I do. However, I wouldn't even consider it if I didn't, right? So when that time comes to pull that trigger, let's just use 2 million, you should have an extra 700 to $1 million on the backup to operate and really produce. Because when you open the door, you have to continuously impress everybody. You can't tell somebody, oh, that's no good right now. We're going to give it a few months and build up the pot and maybe pay for it. No one wants to hear that bullshit.
It's a one-time audition.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to go for it. You have to go for it. Make sure if you have to hire a better chef or more managers, you need more salary, you got to get more people. Start big and then lower yourself down. It's not the other way around. You can't start small and work your way up and expect to be as successful as the people you're trying to work up to.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Everyone's got that figured out.
Yeah. And if you were going to pick your ideal investor, if you could say, this is my perfect investor that I would want to invest in my restaurants, what would that, their kind of avatar be? What type of person, any kind of experience in restaurants before, yes or no?
Somebody who is very well off and has a very low ego.
Okay.
Someone who has somebody, it's hard to find. And the only way you're going to know that is by a character. It's character.
Okay.
So you're going to know somebody's character because you probably didn't know they were rich before you fucking found out. You probably hung out with them a couple times and didn't realize what they were sitting on until it was brought to you another way, or you kind of said, wait a minute, dude, this guy's wearing a Tag Heuer watch and some busted-ass flip-flops, and then the next day he's wearing a Rolex, but he's wearing a wife-beater shirt. You got to figure out that this guy isn't all about it. You're getting in his car, and it's an average, a nice Chevy Colorado or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's these are the type of people that you want because they're not in it. They're in it to see you succeed. And those type of people want to help you succeed.
Yeah.
They want to be part of it. Everybody wants to feel special, and that might be their way of feeling special is by giving, right? They have trust in you. They have faith in you. They want to help you. And, of course, monetarily, everybody wants to make something back. That's part of the deal. No one's just giving anybody anything for free. Yeah. So you got to watch out for that. So my ideal person is exactly that. I would rather find out one of my investors was an investor or potential investor by being in the lineup on a surf break, if we're out surfing or something, and the conversation came up that way. And I'm like, what do you mean? You got it like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something like that where it's an organic relationship. If a guy walks in saying, I'm going to invest in you, you need to come with me, that's the first guy you say, yeah, right on, bro. I'll be out after you. Yeah. You go right out there and wait for me. I'll be out in a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's certain people you need to stay away from. People who are hanging that carrot all the time are the ones that you got to be careful of.
Yeah.
There's typically some ill intent somewhere along the line. And it may not be to fuck you over, but this guy could be using you just because he got through a bad divorce and he wants to tell his wife who's with a young buck now to go fuck herself. So look at my new restaurant, my whore bartender, whatever it may be. Yeah. That's what they're thinking, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful of what the reason for these people are.
Yeah. In term-wise, how, taking on an investor and they say, I only want to be a part of the restaurant for 5 years, 10 years, did you have any say on what you should expect when you get an investor, how long that relationship's going to last or when you should actually try and buy them out?
you should have a projected path of what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you're relying on, this is what it is. A lot of people get the investor and they just think that they're going to pay him off one day. There's no plan, there's no projection, there's no goal, there's no timeline, there's nothing. And then here they are cooking fucking chicken because they're trying to make profit when they should be cooking veal or bone and ribeyes or something of that. You know, if they should be on their prime proteins and they're belittling it by going down and demeaning what their main focus was so they can pay off. That's not a good thing. Yeah. So you need to have a timeline, whether it be 5 or 10 years is all depending on the amount of money given and the amount of money you need to make and what you're trying to bring home for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a big spread there. No matter what the timeline, you definitely should have a plan.
Yeah.
A CPA, a money person, someone who can make sure that is being met. And the faster you can pay that off, the faster you can buy it out. Stop spending your money and buy the fucker out. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
So if they say, here's $1 million, I'll give you 10 years. By 6 years, you should be pretty much close to paying that off. Instead of going outside of where your living is, take the money you're making, pay that son of a bitch off, and then you'll be good to go.
And then you own it, and it's
you own it, then you can go. Now you have buying power on your own.
Then you
have some equity in your life. You know,
yeah.
That's
To build equity in a restaurant is hard. I mean, it's you're battling like pushing that rock uphill. And
it's not luck.
Yeah.
Somebody say, "Oh, he's just lucky." No one's fucking lucky. You're not successful in this business.
No,
you're not lucky. It's not lucky. You somewhere along the line, you figured something out. You learned something real fucking quick, and it's lucky you didn't go the other way. You know what I'm saying? You're lucky it didn't fucking fuck up on you. It's not lucky that it got better for you. That's work. Yeah. That's grit. That's determination. That's never failing. That's not letting somebody win by a monetary number. You know what I mean? Those zeros shouldn't be the answer.
Yeah.
Me, as long as we produce and I produce and we put out the right stuff, the people are going to come. Don't worry about the money. Just worry about the people coming in, enjoying what your passion is. If they like it, the money will come. You know what I mean? That's that. You know,
it happened. I mean, consistency. I mean, I think most of the restaurants that we were ever involved in, the ones that I saw shut down, were all taxes, bad bookkeeping, not keeping track of shit. Having investors that were that type of fly by night, and they ended up snorting a ton of coke, buying a ton of suits, and then drinking a ton of champagne. Yeah. And they, all the money was gone.
They're pulling up in Ferraris when they're on a fucking, as Sony said, they're on a fucking, they're on a Toyota budget.
Yeah.
And they're pulling in and they're wanting fucking BMW technology, right? Sony.
Yeah.
So that's the way it should be. And so Sony's producer of the show, for all those listening and don't know who that is. So there he is, my man. You can't see him, but he's out there.
He's out there.
He's out, yeah.
He's out there.
So once in a while we can get him to laugh.
There it is.
I love it.
You hear him occasionally
That's
in the background. So, it's interesting because it's, you've seen investors, like I've seen it go good and bad. Yours, you had good situations. And then,
I had a great experience with someone who trusted and invested in me as a person.
Yeah.
They did good while we were open. They made some money. Yeah. I bought them out. They made their money there. If you ask me, it was a good investment for them.
Yeah.
They made out good.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. I mean, it took me a long time to recover from that because at that time I had nothing.
Yeah.
So even $20,000, which was more than that, but I had to come back with it. And so I had to go a good amount of months or whatever, years rather, making up for that, coming back with that. So it worked out, but you have to stay persistent.
Yeah.
And you have to stay consistent on saving your money, putting it in the right spot. Don't fucking blow it. And like you said earlier about the people who are getting the suits and the cocaine and all that stuff, that's a fucking fact. There's no doubt about it.
It happens everywhere.
It also happens to the chef, not always the investor.
Yeah.
So the investor already has their fucking money. All right. Yeah. It's the person that is just now for the first time getting the money.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who are fucking off. I'm not even a victim of it. I spent some things where I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I went a little overboard certain times a day. You know what I mean? But you got to reel that in. And it doesn't take many times of that happening to reel it in.
Yeah.
It takes one thing that almost got you fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, I shouldn't have spent that money here because I need it here.
Yeah.
You do that once or twice and you realize quickly that nothing else matters and you better get the shit right. You know?
And warning for investors because you have to have an ironclad contract on both sides.
Ends,
like
right.
even if it's a morals clause or there's any way that you can put addendums in there, you have to actually have that because it keeps your the kitchen under control, because it can get out of hand. And we've seen that sideways even in our area so many times. And, you know, the same thing, booze, women, drugs, same, everybody falls to something. When
an investor is popular, popular, their following is going to be just as good as if the following was the chef or something else. So if this investor is a hot tot in town, you know, walking around, everybody knows him or her, it's all, they're the scene, they know what the fuck's going on. Yeah. Whatever they open turns to gold. We got to go there. We've seen these people.
Yep.
We've been around them.
We've met them.
And there's nothing wrong with them, right? But what the problem is with them is when they get in there, these new chefs they invested in or gave an opportunity to aren't used to that because they fucking don't have their following. They were full of shit. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't have to be full of shit. Maybe they're not full of shit. Maybe they really were going to give it a go. Maybe the investor poked that person because it's the only one they had left, or maybe they really did see potential. Yeah. Well, now you give that chef the glory of what that investor was carrying into the place, and they fucking think it's a false bravado, right? It's a fake cape because they think now that they're the reason why the place is so important, and now they're feeling all sexy. Now they want the cocaine in the suit to match what's going on in the dining room.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not happening, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all investors are on cocaine and wearing suits. I'm not saying that. But that, in the back of the house, I am. That's kind of an example of the high life. They want that high life.
They just, well, yeah, you're chasing, like you said, chasing.
They were never
like,
exposed
you're like,
to.
I need more. I guess for investors too, like setting parameters with them, because you know how it is when you have them, they come in and then all of a sudden they're bringing in 10 friends every night and they expect stuff to be comped because they own the place. So, I mean, you advise putting in you have to just literally think of every situation and get that some kind of parameter in writing. You know what I mean?
It has to be done. You will get taken. Investors will take advantage of the situation just as much as the investee will take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's there's a lot of things it's a really good conversation. It's a really good topic because there's so many people out there thinking about it from the investor point of view.
Yeah.
And if they got fucked before, they probably know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It was the chef, you know, they wanted the fame. They wanted the notoriety. It was their fucking deal. It was, you know, they got screwed over and the chef ends up leaving. Now the investor's fucked.
Yeah.
Right? So now the investor has to scammer around trying to find something, and maybe they don't. Because who knows? Maybe they find something better. You never know. But the person who's getting the investee, you know, the chef, could work the same way. The investor leaves them hanging. But 9 times out of 10, no one's going to invest money and just dump it. There's a problem.
No, they usually, if you're smart enough with your money, you're going to want to make your money back. And so last thing to talk about is when you are investing or growing. So I know you talked before about statistics for restaurants, like 1, 2, 3, like where, you know, people that want to grow these huge franchises, you know, how do you determine that?
I haven't reached that level yet, but I am studying the fuck up on it. And one thing I know about damn business is this. You have to have a consistent projection and you have to have a consistent build-up of success. And that success is monetary in numbers and percentages. That's really all that matters.
Have data, actually have consistent data. And if you don't have the numbers or know your numbers, then you're going to fail.
And if you can't show data that's going to show a projection of growth, no one's going to want it. You can't. It's going to be hard to franchise your own situation because you would already have done that. Somebody has to come in and want to help you and buy your franchise and franchise it typically. And I'm speaking, you got to remember, I'm not speaking to the multi-millions out there who are looking at me shaking his head saying, this fucking Debbie don't know what he's talking about. No, I don't know what you're talking about when you're talking about multi-millions of dollar investments. I don't have that fucking money. I don't have that type of life. And am I working up to it? No, I'm not. I don't want to be that, but if I become that, I'm not going to be mad either.
Yeah.
I'm going to become who I become. And if being a chef would bring me there some fucking way, so be it. Yeah. But I don't see where that would happen because I've already chosen my profession. I've already seen where I'm going to go with it, and I'm way past where I thought I would ever be. So I'm already winning there, right?
Yeah.
So in order to grow your businesses and get that franchise mindset or want to sell it off to somebody, let somebody buy them all or even buy you out as competition, you know what I mean? You have to have a lot there to make it worth your money and make it worth your problem going away. You need to become a big enough problem to where people either want it all or they want to pay you to get the fuck out of their way. So that all comes down to one thing, and it's not money, it's work and dedication.
Yeah.
And so the only way I can say that is moving forward, trying to grow my empire, if you will, doing this a lot here, right? A lot of this today.
A lot of air quotes today. A lot of air quotes for the people who can't see us.
Oh, and another quote I forgot to say. That thing about running a bath, that's a Gordon Ramsay quote, too.
Oh, okay.
Can't steal
All right. Threw that in
Don't
there.
steal recipes, and I don't steal quotes. Unless I forgot who said it.
Unless you... it could be a moment.
Right. So the bottom line is that if you want to grow, you got to show. You got to have data.
Yeah.
You got to have all that stuff. You got to take your time. You got to learn business fast. If you don't, the business is going to consume you, because when money comes in the door and out the door at the same speed, you don't have much room to fuck up. You know what I mean? And it takes very little time to realize that. Sometimes it's too late.
Okay. So final thoughts on investors, yes or no?
That answer, yes or no?
I mean, it is a yes or no answer, but you would take on investors again.
Cautiously.
Yeah. Be
cautiously. Business-minded, with education, do your research,
and
cautiously take on an investor. And if you're investing in somebody, you better do a little more research, because you have the money to back you up. You better make sure they have everything they can to back up your money.
Yeah.
So that's that. So yes, with caution. No, if you don't have 100% commitment to what the fuck I'm talking about right now, you're not ready for investments or investing.
That works. All right. So it's that favorite part of the episode where we're going to read our mean reviews from online. So this one's fun because it's actually a CrossFit person.
CrossFit?
Uh-huh.
All right. CrossFit this fucking bourbon in my mouth. I'm going to reach across and fit this bourbon glass right out of my lips. All right. CrossFit Mayview. I wonder if that's her birthday.
Well, no, I think it's sometimes when you're on Google and stuff leaving reviews, if you're logged in as your business account, it shows that. So we don't know the actual person.
Well, I'll tell you what, y'all, this is a fucking CrossFit Mayview. This is a business. Check them out. Let's give them a fucking nice little, let's give them a review.
Free advertising.
Have their review.
Yeah.
Ready? Nice decor. Trying too hard to be a hip spot with the employee too cool attitude, but I can live with it. That's it on the positive. Wow, that was it? I probably eat out 175 times a year in nice places for work and pleasure. Not that anyone cares, but based on that, the following is noted on my recent dining experience at 5 p.m. on a Saturday. Place was a third full. This isn't going to be pretty. Oof, let me fucking buck up for this.
So just do the next paragraph because we don't care about the rest of what they say.
The female bartenders were not interested in answering questions about wine choice or food. They were interested in their phones, yakking on their headsets, calling George Jetson, "What is the look? What is that look?" ? And then it's got an emoji of a oh fuck's face and a hammer hitting it.
Okay.
Yeah, right. And folding their arms a lot. Positive energy, said no one ever. Tiny number 2 was a similar, but unfortunately, we were not able to enjoy her demeanor. Also, never cleared the plates that sat there over 10 minutes. Nice female food server, was kind enough and apologetic.
Okay.
So I just figured to fuck something out.
Okay. Did you just put something together off of that? Do you know who this is?
Do I know who it is?
Okay, you don't
know. No, I don't, but I just figured something out.
What?
This is a CrossFit bitch, CrossFit Mayview. All right? And the first thing she attacks is tiny number 2, insinuating that someone's overweight or not to her fucking standard. So we can already understand right away what the fuck type of douchebag this is. So that's what happens. Now, we're trying too hard to be a hip spot with an employee too cool attitude. No. You know what? Sometimes employees have a bad day. I don't know what kind of day this was.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there. I don't know where we were. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we're just coming off our pre-shift lineup. We're just coming off of our all of our prep through the whole restaurant.
Yeah.
They are all just coming off of my heat of me saying, let's get this rolling, let's go, and who knows what I was doing that day. Yeah. So who knows what kind of person that had that night. Do I recommend or do I approve of it? Fuck no, I don't. Okay? So that's not how we do things. But the insults here just ruin everything for me. Calling people out of their name. You know what? Yeah. CrossFit, this is a fucking shit review. You're not really saying anything. We never cleared the plates. You never talked about the food. Never talked really about anything.
There's substance in that. Also, after bartending for 15 years, I don't know how much time I ever had to stand there with my arms crossed and stand there for an extended period.
You know, the exaggerations of people. like I said, I don't know what type of people they were, what type of fucking problems they had, or bar staff. I don't know what was going on that day. There might be a little validity to her displeasure.
Yeah.
As far as the earpiece George Jetson thing, at the beginning of this, we were so busy that one person had an earpiece in to speak to me. That was a manager. They're picking this apart to, they're fabricating the story to make their CrossFit fucking glamour so remarkable.
What do you rate their review?
I don't even rate this one.
Okay, so
this one right here, toilet paper.
Okay, cool.
Toilet paper. That's it. Toilet paper. I want to go to her CrossFit studio and just talk about how fucking ridiculous it was. You know what I mean? I'm going to go to your gym and just talk about how that big rubber tire was so fucking goddamn dirty, I couldn't even lift it. This place sucks. You shit me. Is that a kettlebell? It's more like kettle smell. Okay? Thing stinks. All right? So.
On that note,
yeah. George Jetson called, wants his ridiculous fucking review back.
Yeah.
Bullshit. KC, that's it, girl. That's it.
You love those.
That's
They're
it.
always good.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. On to the next one.
Invest on it. Ciao for now.